Owning a junkyard, is it an advantage in the 24 Hours of Lemons? Yes. Yes it is, and there are two ways you can go about doing things. One, you can do the try-hard way, where you take a bunch of really awesome performance stuff you get out of salvage cars and you make a really fast car. The second, correct way is to take two totally unrelated things that just happen to be in your junkyard and put them together. Like, say, I don't know, a Ford Pinto engine and a Mercedes compressor.
Sussbag racing started when team captain Jake, his old circle track buddies, his brother and brother-in-law, they all decided to build a Lemons car way back in 2013.
This car's gonna dominate!
They'd been big IMSA racing fans for a long time and they wanted to do road racing. Their only requirements for their road racing car was rear-wheel drive, independent rear suspension. That's it. And they've got a junkyard to choose a car from.
They had been investigating Ford Thunderbirds and Merkur XR4 TIs, both spectacular options, we might add, before they looked squarely at a Mercedes C230 where they had just sold the driveline and stripped out the interior.
Now this isn't just any old C230, it's the hatchback, or as they called it when they were trying to market it in the US, the sports coupe. We've done an entire Lemons World on the very short-lived genre of real European hatchbacks. You can check that out elsewhere on this channel. But in any case, Sussbag Racing had their vehicle.
It's probably worth mentioning that these guys are in northern Wisconsin, which has a lot of long, cold winters and a lot of time spent inside of a shop where you dream up all these crazy ideas. So they had this car, and the engine they were going to use with it was one they had used in their circle track life for years, the Ford Lima 2.3 liter Pinto engine. As we said, there's some unfair advantage to working in a junkyard and building a Lemons car, and so they went out into the yard to look for an engine for this car. They passed over things like GM's LS engine, BMW straight sixes, even a Mercedes V6 or V8 or something, and they went right to the money. They went to the good motor. They went to the Ford Pinto 2.3 liter.
Now to them, this combination is not weird. They had the Pinto motor, they had the Mercedes, they had a Mustang T5 manual transmission that mated to the Pinto motor. They just put it all together. Just totally normal.
Thus, they were completely stunned by all the attention they got at the first race from putting these two disparate elements together. But Sussbag crew and their Pinto engine Mercedes check a lot of boxes for a good Lemons car. A newish car that people insist is a great and valuable machine? Check. Took what people claim to be the car's best part, the supercharged 2.3 liter Mercedes engine, and installed a crude analog in a Pinto motor? Check. Came way out of left field and we didn't even see it coming? Triple check.
Now this team was familiar with the Pinto engine from their dirt track racing, which probably means they put in all of the dirt track tuning secrets into their first engine, which definitely means that that's why it blew up 10 hours into their first race.
Some teams would be deterred by their tuning with a motor not panning out, but these guys decided to just up the ante instead. They were going to build the monster Pinto engine, the Pinto engine to end all Pinto engines.
This, of course, is the Volvo twin-cam cylinder head swap onto the Pinto block. The B234F version of Volvo's red block, the cylinder head from that, by some totally coincidental design accident, will physically fit onto a Pinto engine block with some machining for coolant patches and other stuff. Most importantly, they had one of these Volvo motors in the junkyard, so they went and grabbed it.
Now that alone is amazing that that exists at all and that somebody figured it out, but you still have to figure out how to get air and fuel to the engine, and Jake wasn't about to do something stupid or cheaty like put a Mega Squirt or some other aftermarket EFI setup on it. This is Wisconsin, so there's just snowmobile crap laying around everywhere. He grabbed 4 snowmobile carbs and slapped them right on an intake that he had made for it. Absolutely spectacular.
And of course there's a bunch of other accessory bodging that needs to happen. There's an old distributor from some General Motors thing. There's a homemade timing belt idler tensioner system that looks like a Rube Goldberg device. It's all just a crazy contraption.
If that's not enough, they somehow figured out how to get a close ratio Camaro transmission behind it, and then they upgraded to Mercedes ML320 brakes and wheels, which make it look just absurd.
When the engine got this upgrade, they changed the team name from Susbag Crew to Balaam's Donkey Racing, which is an Old Testament story that is a little bit convoluted. Short version is that Balaam is some kind of wizard who is unkind to his donkey until the donkey suddenly speaks to Balaam to ask why he's being a total knob, which of course saves Balaam from being killed by an angel. This is a connection not any weirder than a Pinto motor and a Mercedes.
How does a contraption like this actually drive on the track? Well, Jake said it actually ran pretty well and made decent power. Unfortunately, he had some jetting problems with the Rube Goldberg-esque 4 snowmobile carb setup, and it was using a lot of gasoline and at high RPM was generating some fumes that were suboptimal.
Going back to their original goal of having a rear drive car with independent suspension at all 4 corners, the C230 handles pretty well, but these bigger wheels added a ton of weight and height and body roll. But like we said, it looks awesome. That's what's really important.
What knocked it out wasn't the Pinto engine to end all Pinto engines. It was instead some kind of weird clutch problem that has had them sidelined for a couple years at this point.
But in the meantime, they've gone back to their own junkyard and shopped for random cars and engines and have been running an RX-8 with a Honda Element engine in it in Lemons in the meantime.
Jake's brother Adam is also building something crazy out of the junkyard. It is a car we have wanted to see for years. I won't ruin the surprise, but I will tell you there's going to be a mid-engine Slant 6 in it.
That won't be the end of the Volvo-powered Mercedes. They're planning on bringing it back, although probably with yet another engine, maybe this time without the snowmobile carbs.
So, junkyard or not, Lemons is a place where you can build the kind of stuff that you've always wanted to build, and if you have a junkyard, just maybe a little bit easier.
And as Jake says about the Pinto-powered Mercedes, I've always wanted to do that.